Our next presenters are very well versed in working with brands and partnerships while being able to stay really true to their creative vision.
To discuss how they maintain creative integrity throughout every stage of the process, from concepting to publishing, please welcome photographers and Team Galaxy content creators Marilyn Hue, Keegan Evans, Kara Lewis, and Samsung's very own Maggie Goin.
Yay! Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Our very own Team Galaxy. We're so happy to have you guys here. I'm excited to kind of dive in to the crux of being a content creator, right? I mean, the evolution of being a creator is you're going to work with brands, you're going to work with other people, you're going to be at the mercy of briefs. So, I definitely want to hear how you guys kind of keep your creative integrity as you perform your art. So, I think we should start by explaining, you guys are all photographers, videographers, same art, but you have very different verticals. So tell me a little bit about what you guys do and then, your creative journey.
Yeah. Hi, guys. My name is Kara Lewis, photographer, videographer. And I had a friend introduce the idea of maybe me walking up to strangers and filming them and sharing their story. And that was something I had originally turned down. I just didn't know if it was something that made sense for me. But I decided, you know what, I want to try this, I want to do it. And so I ended up walking up to a group of kids at the beach. And I was like, listen, I have no clue how to work this camera that I'm holding in my hand right now. But if you give me a shot, I would love to just take some photos of you guys and see if, we can create something here. And so they said yes, and they agreed. And I ended up posting this video, and I woke up at 2 a.m. and the video had 20,000 views. And that was something I had never seen before, ever. And I'm like, what the heck?
She's gone viral.
Yeah, that was so viral at the time. And so I was like, okay, maybe I need to figure out maybe this is my thing. And so I called up my friend that brought up that idea, and I'm like, tell me more, what are we doing here? And so that's kind of how I started. And yeah, it's been a great journey so far.
We can kind of dive into that here in a bit too, because I want to hear more about that journey.
Yeah.
Keegan, how about you?
Hi, everyone. I'm Keegan. I'm a photographer and videographer as well. My journey is a little crazy. I started shooting when I was in college to pay for school, and I ended up shooting, senior portraits and weddings that I got into, which was a little terrifying for me. A long story short is I ended up making a waffle company with my wife, a high-protein waffle company called Wake Up Waffles, and that got me into product photography. And I ended up working with a lot of brands through giveaways, because this was 2016, and giveaways were massive on Instagram. And so I worked with other brands and became more of a product photographer for them. So I started showing the behind the scenes there, and that blew up for a while, but I wanted to get more into videography. So I created this series where I combine a product and a genre, and it's random, and I make a commercial out of it. So the first one was Coca-Cola and horror. And with that, it changed my life completely, and I'm sitting here today because of that series.
Marilyn, how about you?
Hi, everyone. My name's Marilyn Hue. I am a multidisciplinary artist specializing in photography, graphic design, and creative direction overall. So I was designing apparel for a long time and used my photography to make design elements. And I really used photography for that, but I fell in love with it so much, and I was doing it all the time. So I was like, I'm going to use photography as my medium of art, and was creating a lot of different conceptual portraits with incredible models and other people, and just collaborating all the time and sharing that on Instagram back in 2013. It's been an incredible journey for me, and yeah, social media definitely changed my life in a lot of ways. So
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll talk about it more, but yeah.
We will. So, Kara, going back to kind of the evolution of your content style now, how did you decide that this is kind of a niche that you wanted to pursue, kind of go this specific direction of walking up to strangers, doing a shoot, and that kind of takes on your creative journey?
Yeah. Well, it's so funny because I grew up homeschooled my entire life, and I didn't get a phone until I was 18. So I guess you could say I was pretty sheltered, and I think I just wanted to branch out and start connecting with people.
Yeah.
And at that point, I'm a huge people person, very big extrovert, love getting to hear people's stories and share them. And after that first video that I had done, I really loved the concept. And I started realizing I wasn't just going to shoot photos with people or do videos, but I want to like tell people, like show people that, there's so many amazing different unique styles of just like groups of people and different things that you can show on the internet, and I had the ability to do that. And so it was just a really cool thing, getting to just share people's stories and dive deep into that.
Yeah. I mean, Marilyn, I would say, you share people's stories in a unique way as well. I would say you're extremely multifaceted. You have created a business and you've toured with musicians and, you do incredible lifestyle photography. So where do you find that balance of like, do I stay in one lane or I can do it all and, still have a true identity, creative identity?
I think my identity is many identities. I definitely have ADHD, so it's physically impossible for me to focus on just one thing.
Yeah.
And that was a way for me to share myself with the world, was through collaborations and thinking of like really crazy conceptual ideas that remind me of something in my own life and help me tell my story. And at the same time, like, I realized that I could do the same thing with a lot of other incredible people. So getting to know whoever I'm shooting on a way more personal level, actually knowing them as a person, to be able to bring out their personality in these photographs and videos and stuff. So yeah, it's been awesome.
Keegan, your content, it seems like a simple concept, but as you watch the content, it is elaborate, right? Like you go deep.
We go big. We go a little crazy.
You go really big.
A little crazy with it.
So I think, working with brands, I recognize that it can be difficult because there's so many requirements. We need you to focus on this. So as you're building concepts and as you're, sticking with your creative direction, how are you balancing brand needs and,
and staying true to what
what you're doing, but also following a brief, right? Like I think
Yeah.
a lot of creators struggle with that.
It can be tough. I think the biggest thing is, staying true to like what are your North Star goals with your content, right? So for me, when I'm making videos, I have like three things in mind. I want it to be really cinematic and just beautiful to look at. I want it to be funny because I love making funny content. And I also want it to be a little bit unhinged. Like that's just my brand, is just, go see how far I can push it. And brands have respected that and allowed me to be a little unhinged. And it's fun to see, how far I can push it. And so I think when you're working with brands, the question is like, okay, is this the right brand for me that I can integrate and it still feels true to my content? Because if I don't have those three things, then it probably doesn't feel like my content. And I think my audience is going to be like, get your bag, but,
Our favorite comments.
Yeah, exactly.
It is a little difficult sometimes to work with brands because they really want something specific. And if it's too far out of like what I normally want to do, like it's hard to say no, but you don't want to say yes either. And so I try very hard to conceptualize an idea that I think will work for both like myself and like the collaborator. And like usually that always comes out to be a lot more organic. Some of like my favorite artists, like Travis Scott and Virgil and everybody, like they have such a strong personal brand that they can really collaborate with literally anybody and you will still see them through that collaboration.
Let's talk technology. So, you guys are photographers, videographers, you have a lot of technology, at your fingertips. So how are you guys evolving your content using technology to make it easier for y'all, to make it more, real, and what are the tools you're using?
So I went out to Portugal. We were sent out for the girls' trip, which was awesome, a couple weeks ago. And I met this guy who did not speak English. He spoke Portuguese. And so I used my live translate to literally communicate with him. And I wouldn't have been able to communicate with him without it. And so it was super convenient and cool. and I got to do photos of him on my Galaxy S24 Ultra. And I was using the nightography, and it came out amazing. It was in a really dark restaurant that he was working in. And I just don't think I would have been able to capture those specific photos with previous devices.
For me, I've been using Circle to Search like crazy because a big portion of my videos is weird costumes and props. And so recently we just shot a sitcom video, and I wanted to dress up as an old like TV or refrigerator repairman. And I was thinking, I was like, I've seen Pleasantville. Like, there's that repairman there. But I have no idea what that hat is. I did not know what it was called. So I pulled up Pleasantville and used Circle to Search on his hat. Immediately pulled up like cadet cap, and I was like,
Done.
we got it. We got our prop.
The S24 is like it has so many tools already that sometimes I don't even need my laptop. Like if I want to make quick edits, like I'm still very heavy aesthetic. So like,
Yes.
you know, like I want the slow motion videos and I want like all the cool color edits, but my phone can shoot RAW. So I can have a lot of dynamic range to like edit as cinematic as I want. And then at the same time, like if you're capturing a video in real time in a moment, like I'm not thinking about settings, I'm not thinking about any of that. I'm just shooting a video. Looking at it later, I'm like, oh, I wish, you know, I shot this in 120 FPS and I didn't, you know. But now with instant slow-mo, which is actually a new feature on the S24, like I could literally just tap it one time and it'll like a 30 FPS video will now look like a 120. Everything I can do in my pocket, which is pretty crazy, and it has simplified my process a lot. So on a day-to-day basis for photography, I just use my phone, and then I save my DSLR moments for like really big shoots or like, you know, when I need to look extra professional.
So, Marilyn, this I think applies to you a lot too, but where are you finding the balance between being an artist and being a content creator? Because I know that can be tough, right?
Yes, it's very tough because like what we were talking about, like the audience stuff, right? Like I try really, really hard not to compare myself to other creators. I try really hard not to look at numbers and care about it, but at the end of the day, sometimes I do. And I need to stop that, you know?
It's hard not to.
It's really hard not to do because you feel like, especially me, right? Like a lot of these creators maybe did make it in like a year or two, but I've been on social media since 2013, so it was not a year for me. It was many, many, many years. Actually, I think my journey is still continuing. So it's not sustainable to always compare. It's not sustainable for me as an artist to always chase numbers. Like the only thing that makes me really happy is like actually putting my art out there. And whether or not people like it, I think that that's the release for me, is having an idea and being able to just let it go so I can move on to the next idea.
So, Keegan, Kara, how are you guys? You guys have like very kind of clear streams of content. How are you guys finding ways to evolve your content while still kind of staying in the same realm of, continuity in what you're doing day to day? What's your kind of process?
I think I love to add my audience in with my stories, and I love to engage and see what they like. I love going live and talking to them and saying, hey, what do you guys want to see? Because I'm going to keep the same format, that helped me kind of get here. But, like with the stories, what do they want to see? I always ask, like, do you guys want this specific kind of route, or do you want something completely different? And it's cool, like, getting to engage with your audience and see what they're really wanting. But it's cool to leave them on cliffhangers too, which is something we were just talking about a little bit. It's fun and it's your content, so you can kind of do whatever you want with it. But just trying to engage with your audience is probably the biggest thing.
And I feel like you've kind of sprinkled in a little bit more lifestyle recently, which has been really fun as someone, part of your audience. So I think it's fun to see, your craft, and then we kind of know what's going on behind the scenes too. We know a little bit more about you, which is really interesting.
Behind the scenes, people love to see the rawness of everything,
Yeah, it's super fun to interact with, like, doing polls on stories. I feel like we both do that pretty often, just to try to like gauge what they're interested in seeing. And obviously, the way that your content is performing, your audience is also telling you what they want to see. So, now 60. What if I combine videos in? I'm thinking like, okay, how do we get bigger? How do we get crazier? What's the next thing? So it's a lot of testing. We're gonna start a new series here soon, and I'm excited to see what happens with it. And get a
Talk
little
about a
more
cliffhanger.
creative. Yeah, you guys will just have to see.
All right. So, what would y'all's advice be to creators who maybe are kind of up and coming that are trying to find their voice? Are there any exercises, or is there an approach that they should take to kind of figure out the direction they want to go with their creative and kind of finding their brand voice for themselves?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I think I could do a little thought starter on that. I feel like creating a personal brand, like what I mentioned before, is so important. And how you do that is literally creating every single day, looking back at your work to see subconsciously what you always gravitate towards doing. Sometimes following your passion is not the best thing, but following your efforts is better, right? So like if you're naturally always sharpening your images, or you like it really bright, or you like more cinematic stuff, like you'll see maybe 20 of your own posts and like, oh wow, I keep doing the same thing, and maybe that's your thing.
Yeah.
So it's like you won't know your thing until you try as many things as you want to try. Like just put effort into trying every single day.
Yeah, you think like consistency, because if you're not seeing great success with the first video or piece of content, you keep going, right?
I think consistency for anything, working out,
Yeah.
relationships and content creating, if you're consistent, like you'll get results. So
I feel like it can be scary too for new creators who see like such a saturated market, and they're like, well, where can I fit in? But there's so much room for more creators. There just is in the space. There really can never be enough. And so it's okay to like look at other creators and see what they're doing and say, hey, like I really like this creator. I kind of want to do a twist on this, but make it your own. And that's the biggest thing is, you don't want to, copy another creator exactly, but it's okay to see, oh my gosh, like I am inspired by this creator. What can I do it's true to me, but is really, thanks to them, and start, a derivative of what they're creating in a way, and just, making it your own.
Yeah, I think my best piece of advice for that question would be to find one thing and stick with it and work really hard at it. I remember I was at this event and I was wearing an orange beanie and I wasn't even doing social media or anything at the time. And this girl comes up to me and she's like, oh my gosh, you're the girl with the orange beanie on TikTok. I was like, I'm actually not. Like, I don't even do social media. But she had recognized just that orange beanie. And it was just something that made me realize, like, whoa, this girl doesn't even know her name, but she knows her from this specific item or thing. And it made me realize, like, wow, like, if you can be recognized or, successful for one specific thing, then you can branch out into a lot of other things later on. But having one specific thing can really like jumpstart that success.
That's such a good point. I feel like so many kids have come up to me and they're like, "You're the bowl guy." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm the bowl guy. That's me."
So you lead into being the bull guy now.
Yeah, why not?
You kind of talked about like not copying other creators, but like kind of using them as inspiration, right?
Yeah.
What are y'all's thoughts about mentorship within the creator community? Because we've talked in the past.
I live for that.
Yeah, yeah.
Heck yeah.
I think it's an energy exchange. Like when, yes, I'm giving you knowledge, but at the same time, the up and coming creators and the youth in general, like have so much more to offer. I'm not, 25 anymore. I wish I was, but I feel like you can learn a lot about a whole new like generation of music, of arts, of like other creators, and just like mentorship is great because I can give you everything I've learned in the past however many years, but you're going to be able to give me something fresh and new. So I think like mentorship is definitely a mutual thing.
Yeah,
actually.
it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
For sure. Because those fresh ideas coming from the newer creators are something that like kind of kicks you in the butt a little bit. Like we've gotten into our ways, and you see these fresh creators who have just brand new ideas, and you're like,
no
you know
fear.
what?
Just
No fear,
making
exactly.
whatever.
They're coming in with no fear, and that's
Nothing to lose.
inspiring.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. I appreciate you guys so much. I think the net is that there are so many amazing creators in this room and watching, and you guys are mentors to them as well. So we appreciate your time and sharing some of your story. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you. My DMs are open. Hit me
Yeah.
up.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Hit us up.
Thank you, guys.
See ya.